Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Well, Major League Baseball is right around the corner, and tonight we are previewing the 2026 season with Scott Braun. Who is the best team in New York? Did the Mets do enough to overtake the Yankees? Also, who is the team to beat in the American League? Will the Tigers trade Tariq Skubal, and will Aaron Judge's home run record fall to Cal Raleigh? This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Welcome back, everybody. Joining me is the guy I like to call Scotty Baseball. How's it going, Scotty Baseball?
I'm great. Oh, it's great to see you, Derek, Pinstripe Territory. And the graphics on this show are incredible now. Obviously, I'm biased because I love you and I love this show, but you have done incredible work and it looks so crisp. I've enjoyed watching, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of work this winter. I unlike the Yankees, I don't like to run it back every year. I like to add a little bit to the roster. So yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff this season that I'll break out. But in this episode, we're gonna throw some red meat to the audience here, get a little debate going. Have the Mets now with their additions this winter overtaken the Yankees? I mean, we talked a lot about that last year. They ended up coming short, but hey, Freddie Peralta, there's no arguing that guy's a nasty pitcher, and Bo Bichette, obviously an amazing hitter. We'll talk about the other teams in the American League. Who's the team to beat? I personally think the Mariners are going to be nasty this year. Tigers look good. They always, are strong when they have Skubal on the mound, so they've added some depth behind them. And we'll talk about the general way Dodgers have taken over baseball, whether they can three-peat, and then why we don't think that the entire 27 season will be missed, but there could be some drama. So we'll get to all that. But let's first begin with the Mets versus the Yankees. So, Scotty, I'm interested in knowing what's your take. I mean, we all know I'm going to choose the Yankees 8 days a week. But I'm curious to see, as a person who's objective about baseball and covers the entire league, knows the National League just as well as the American League, who do you think is the best team in New York City right now?
Oh, I think it's the Yankees, Derek. I'm with you. You're correct. Bias or not, the Mets have a lot more of mystery heading into this season. We have players that are playing out of position. I think that's going to create a little bit of defensive chaos early on. For as good as some of these guys are and as versatile as they appear to be, that doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect fit for them. So for me, Derek, with the Yanks, the floor is really high. There are a lot of really solid, consistent names. They are, quote, running it back. I think running it back leads to more regular season success than postseason success. Look over to the National League East and the Philadelphia Phillies. They've been running it back for a few years now. The regular season hasn't been the problem. So do I love what the Yankees have concoction-wise right now heading into the postseason? No, but we're 162 games away from that. So right now, I think it's a very safe floor. There are big arms that will be moving their way back, of course, headlined by Garrett Cole. But this team goes as Aaron Judge goes. For me, Derek, I think if you told me the Yankees won between 92 and 100 games, I would not be surprised at all. If we start going below that, I would be surprised. There's so much more variance with the Mets right now. So they have more pitching depth. I love Freddie Peralta, but let's remember, they also lost significant pieces. Edwin Diaz has been incredible for them for years. I don't think Devin Williams is an upgrade. I think it's a downgrade. I think that's fair. And he had his ups and downs in New York. So when you add it all up, for me, I think the Mets should be better this year. How much better? Maybe a few games better, and that will put them perhaps in a wild card spot.
So I'm curious what your thoughts are on some of the Yankees pitching. I mean, we haven't really talked since Cam Schlittler came on, like he did in the postseason. He had a little back stuff today, but I'm not worried about that at all. I mean, it's not uncommon for pitchers to be sore this time of year. As long as we're not hearing stiff forearm or, sore shoulder, I'm okay with it. But we've got a young ace, it looks like, on this roster that nobody was really counting on. They've also blocked Jason Dominguez, who I'm a big fan of. How do you feel about, him being a fourth outfielder, or is it better for him to start the season in AAA? Just kind of your thoughts on the young talent on the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm excited about Schlittler. I think they'll be careful with him. I think this is a team that is going to be in much more of a fight than, say, the Dodgers, who I know we're going to talk about later, but they're going to be smart about preserving arms. and know that they have arms coming in, right? It sounds like Rodon is not going to take that much time to make his way back. So I feel pretty good about the rotation. I know some Yanks fans wanted to see one more big name thrown in there. I actually think they're going to do big things with Weathers. It's a matter of if they can keep him healthy, of course. But I think he's a starting caliber pitcher, and I think he could get unlocked with the Yankees. As far as the outfield, Derek, for me, I leave Dominguez up and learn from the big boys. And even if the playing time is not consistently there, injuries pop up. When does Stanton go down? It's not if, it's when. At some point, he's going to miss time. I think there's no doubt about that. Then you emerge. I'd like to just see him rack another full season. If the ABs are inconsistent, I'm okay with that. Now, if he's struggling in a middling role or in a part-time role, then you can send him down, build up some confidence. But I'm okay with him being a fourth outfielder, mixing and matching with platooning. I'll believe it when I see it with Trent Grisham. It's hard for me to see that doubling down again. I think he's a solid player, but what we saw last year, holy cow. I mean, if they get that again, all the credit to them. But we're looking at the numbers on the screen right now. Who the heck had Trent Grisham with 34 home runs this past season, 464 slugging, and he was on base almost 35% of the time? They nailed it. I listened to Brian Cashman recently talk about how they almost non-tendered him, and wow, look how much they would have been missing. But for me, Derek, I do think that Dominguez, if he's got the sauce, is going to be able to find a way to make some big moments out of his limited playing time and turn that into more PT. The thing for me is, I don't know if that'll happen. I mean, is the defense going to be good enough? That's the problem too. It's not like he's a late sub or anything. So is the defense going to be good enough? Will we get flashes of power? I think so. Yeah. But that's more of a concern for me. I think the bat will develop over time. There'll be some injuries. He'll fill in. But is he going to play good enough defense out there?
40 home runs from Ben Rice. What do you think?
Oof. Over under? I'll go. What did we at? 26 last year?
26.
I'll go under. I'll go under, but not by much. I mean, I think he's in the 30s. Let's go 36. Let's go 36. And you know why I go down a few notches for him? I think the Goldschmidt news puts him into a little bit more of a platoon at times. The Yankees love the platoon action. I think they're starting to do that more now than I've seen in a while with some of the lefty-righty balance that they have. So they're going to try to put him in a catcher role at times. I don't love that. So that's going to usually make offense a little bit tougher for him. So I'll go under, but man, I love him. You know what? I interviewed him when he was with the Somerset Patriots.
I remember that.
Territory. We did a day there.
Somebody called him the best hitter they had ever seen. And I was like, who is this guy? I got to put him on my radar.
And I'm glad that they did, right? They were talking him up at Somerset. He was getting some attention, but not a ton. He wasn't highly touted. This wasn't Dominguez. This wasn't Jones. And the difference for me too is that he still looked like a kid there. It's one of those guys where you're like, he's a little, I don't know, gawky. And then he suddenly fills out and he looks like a meathead now in a good way. And I think that was the difference too. I know it's not all just putting on muscle, but he looked like a different guy. He was more wiry. And I think he's combined that now with the strength. Like this is a lumberjack dude if you look and go next to him. So yeah, I've got mid to upper 30s as the peak, the ceiling for him this year in terms of homers.
I'll take it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the American League. Tigers have obviously loaded up. The Mariners came really close last year, and I love watching Brian Wu pitch. He's I've mentioned this the other day. He's my favorite non-Yankee pitcher to watch, other than maybe Paul Skeens, just because he's just like, I mean, it's Paul Skeens. But he's unbelievable, and you know, we'll talk more about Cal Raleigh later. I don't know if he can hit 60 again, but it seems like something has been unlocked in home runs like around the league, and he might have been one of those guys that just, you know, found the secret potion. You know, the Boston Red Sox could be really good. They've added Sonny Gray. They're going to have a full season of Roman Anthony. Who do you see as the favorites in the AL this year?
So if we're going division by division, I like the Mariners in the AL West just like you do. I think they got stronger. I really liked the icing on the cake with Brendan Donovan. I thought that was the missing link. You have power in that lineup too, Derek, and you need to turn some of those solo homers into 2-run shots, those 2-run homers into 3-run shots. That's what Donovan's going to do. He's going to get on base. He's a gamer. Mariners will go through injuries. Cool. He can play around the infield. He can play in the outfield. To me, that's a special player. That's why it took the team a while to get him, and they had to give up a lot to pick him up. So I'm a big fan there. As you can see, the Mariners at the end there ran away with it. 3 games clear of the Astros. I think they're still better than the Astros. I think Rosarena actually is even going to have a good year on a free agent year for him. Not even a good year. It's not like he hasn't had good years in the past, but he's been a little streaky. I mean, he looked like Babe Ruth for one postseason in 2020. He certainly hasn't been that player. He's fun to watch. So I think he'll do well. So I liked what they did. I know they lost Polanco, but I think they gained more, and the pitching gets a little more experience now, and they're battle tested in the Central. Yeah, I love the Tigers. I think they could run away with the division there. I know they gave it up at the end of Cleveland, but I think they'll be stronger. I loved what they did with the pitching. I know they lost Reese Olson, but then they pick up Fromber and they pick up Justin Verlander, and they're trying to load themselves up for a 1-2 punch in the postseason. I think they did that. And then for me, I'll still go. I'm kind of leading up to my crescendo over to the Blue Jays. Derek, I know they went through some injuries just now. Anthony Santander wasn't a factor for the team last year.
That's true.
And I actually think it puts them in a better position to let George Springer cook in the DH role. That was the difference for them. George Springer ain't no spring chicken, and he wants to play every day. The best way to get the max value out of his bat is to let him DH as much as possible. And this is going to enable them to do that. There's a little more flexibility there. They picked up a ton of pitching. Dylan Cease will probably take another step with them. I like this guy, Cody Ponce, they picked up overseas. He's got it too. He's got the stuff, but he's also got the it factor. We spoke to him on Foul Territory. So I think they're going to be just as good as they were last year. I know they lost Bo, but I think there's enough there for me. I'm a big Okamoto fan too. I think he's going to be a very solid above average hitter in a lineup for them.
Yeah, what's the plan to replace Bo Bichette? I mean, he was obviously a huge part of their lineup. I mean, is Okamoto that good? I mean, and Okamoto plays third. Bichette was playing short. Who's playing short?
So Jimenez is going to play short, and he's an excellent defender. He can handle short or second. I think Ernie Clement has to play every day. So for me, I've got Clement at second base. I like Barger in the outfield. He has a freaking cannon, so let him cook out there. Okamoto at third. That's the real question. Is Okamoto going to be good enough at third? Some teams had him scouted as a first baseman only, but clearly the Blue Jays are going to let him try that out. I guess if it doesn't work, you go Barger right over at third, and then I know they've talked about maybe Okamoto getting time or just kind of floating around. But that's what I would do. I would try and ideally for me, Okamoto's at third. Springer is DHing as much as possible. They've got enough in the outfield, even without Santander. Ernie Clement, I think, has shown what he can do in the postseason, and I think he can put that together over a full season. You've got Vladdy, so the lineup looks sick to me. I think it looks really good. You'll miss Bo and the consistency of Bo. There's no doubt about that. But I think the pitching, the run prevention got stronger. So I still think they're a mid-90s win team, and I think they're the best team in the American League East right now, and I think the AL East is the best division. How many times have we said that before?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year. Okay, so they used to do this thing when Tiger Woods was at his peak in Vegas, where they would let you bet Tiger Woods or the field, right? And I feel like there should be something like that for baseball this year. Dodgers or the field. And if I were to offer you that bet, who would you take?
I take the field, and I did it last year, and I remember we got into this debate last year. And you know what? Cut me some slack. I know a lot of people said don't even play this season. The Dodgers are going to win it all. I watched every pitch of the World Series. I thought the Blue Jays were just as good, if not stronger. A few bounces don't go their way, and the Dodgers win it. It's not like it was a cakewalk. The CS was a cakewalk.
Yeah.
They dusted the Brewers. But the World Series was a heavyweight fight. It was one of the best World Series of all time. So I'm going to take the field again. There's too many other teams. There's too many injuries that could occur. They have the best player in baseball. Like he could get hurt.
That's a great point.
Things could
the
change.
Injuries.
You know.
So these guys got overused. I mean, Yamamoto throwing in back-to-back days. Tyler Glasnow had to pitch a bunch in that series. I think that there's a real wear and tear factor as teams go deep into the playoffs year after year on their pitching. And I think that there's a real chance that their pitching could break down this year.
When you pitch an extra month and then you do crazy things, it often leads to a higher percentage of problems. This is why our sport has such an issue with finding back-to-back champs. And we finally got it. But it took a long time, right? Last time we saw it, of course, was with the Yanks. So I'm still going to take the field, Derek. I think there are enough talented teams out there. Are the Dodgers the favorite? No doubt. Here's where there's some good money, because you know I'm a betting man. We did this today on our show. Did you know right now the Dodgers are at minus 175 to have the most wins in the regular season? They did not have the most wins in the regular season last year. As you can see, they were fifth. They had 93 wins. I think there are some other teams to check out. I like the American League better to take some teams because I think there are some more dog teams in the AL that you can pick on. So, for example, the Tigers in what I think will be a weaker American League Central, they might be able to rack up 99 wins and the Dodgers finish with 95. Here's the big difference with the Dodgers. They are relentless in not putting too much in any regular season game because they don't have to. They know they're going to make the playoffs and they're playing the marathon. And I think that's what they did so well last year. Of course, there's many reasons why they won the World Series last year, but they really managed their pitching, right? Like Blake Snell wasn't a huge factor in the regular season for them. And then look at him in the playoffs, Tyler Glass now, et cetera. They know those guys are not going to give them 180 innings. That's okay. They pitch like ones if they're healthy in the postseason. So that's how they did it. And I think that was a big reason why they were able to put together back-to-back World Series titles. Their rotation last year looked almost nothing like it did the year before in the playoffs. That's the way to do it. You wear out your pitching staff. It usually is not in good shape by the time you get to October the next year. So they are, Derek, theme of the month, not running it back. I mean, they always find a way to switch things up. Diaz is added. Kyle Tucker is added. So I like what they've done, and I like how they managed 24-25 to win 2 titles in a row.
Going to be interesting to see what happens. So there's a lot of concern that this could be the last baseball that we see for a while because of the impending collective bargaining agreement situation. And I know people are tired of hearing about it, but I wanted to throw some, I guess, like light on the situation. It seems like we always hear this doom and gloom. And then you get down to the point where you're going to actually miss games and they find a way to miraculously figure it out. It's kind of like when they're going to shut down the government or something and it's, we're going to be whatever. And then they figure it out, right? And, when you've got, as you mentioned before, lawyers involved in every little bit of this on both sides, they drag things out. I mean, that's just the nature of things. And it goes to the very limit. I could see him playing 150, 155 games. I can see him missing a week of time, but I don't think I don't think they would flush an entire season of revenue. I don't think anybody wants to do that.
I'll give you my take in terms of the games played for next year. I think they're going to drip this lockout into the beginning of 2027. Maybe they miss, say, a week or so, maybe a little bit more. And then a league and players that love money will stack games. They'll be like, we're not going to get many breaks. We're going to rack double headers. They'll say, Tuesday's the deadline, and if we don't get there, then we are going to really miss games, and then they'll go past Tuesday, and then it'll be Friday, and all of a sudden on a weekend, right? That's when all this news always goes down. Yeah, get ready for lockout territory. I like that, Frankie. We will be talking about it every day, as it will be a lockout for many months. But, Derek, they'll get past some fake deadline that is put together by tons of lawyers, and then they'll get a deal done. And then they'll go, okay, just kidding. Each team's going to have 3 double headers and they're going to get 5 less off days. And boom, look, we found our 162 game season because nobody wants to miss a dime of full pay. And the owners don't want to do that either. And also they have a media rights deal that's up in 3 years. And you don't want to look back and say, oh, look, we didn't have revenues as strong that year. So I just think there's too much on the line. They're going to figure it out. There's a lot of infighting that I think is going on that nobody's covering right now. And we'll use the Yankees as a great example. How much money do the Yankees have to share to get some other teams to start footing a bill for players? I mean, you're never going to see books, but it is the age-old thing in baseball right now where I just can't see the Brewers, the Guardians, go down the line, not being able to spend one dime on players when you look at how much money they make from a national media rights package and from the gate and go down the line. The Atlanta Braves are a publicly traded company. They make a lot of money. If you spend a lot of time and go through their finances, you're like, wow, this team is a behemoth. Now take a fraction of that, and I still think you have teams that are making money based on the payroll, right? The Braves are a top 10, if not top 5 payroll team. So I think there's a lot of infighting there. They never figured out a way to force many teams to spend money. And they're figuring out ways, some of them, the smart ones, like the Guardians and Brewers, to be very competitive. But then you have teams like the Pirates who are super frustrating. The Twins are a disaster. So I think that's the biggest problem in baseball, and the PR narrative has been very smart on the ownership side. They've said the only way to fix that is to cap teams. No. The only way to fix that is to floor teams. And they're like, okay, well, we can't do that without a cap. We have a cap. It's called a soft cap. Teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers pay hundreds of millions of dollars over the years so that other teams can spend money on players. Are they spending money on players? No,
Nope.
They're not. So what do we think we're going to fix? So we're going to create a floor and a cap that's like this, that's so tight and close together. Everyone can only spend $100 million. They're not going to do that. So I just think they have to get the revenue sharing figured out. And that does get collectively bargained with the players. But really, the owners have to get that part down first. They need to argue it out in a room and figure out how they're splitting up money and how they're sharing, but how they're actually making other teams spend so it doesn't make everyone look bad. Because I really think the problem is always the bottom 10 or so, not the top 10.
I feel bad for Pirates fans and for, Twins fans. Like, these are teams that have been around a long time and have won in the past and, have generational fans. I mean, imagine, being a kid and seeing Barry Bonds play and you go to the World Series and you're thinking, all right. And then you go into like a 3-decade slump. It's aggravating. I mean, you see guys come up, and be stars and then get traded or sign as free agents. It's got to be frustrating for those fans. But as a Yankee fan, we don't have to worry. We got a different set of problems.
I got my own fucking problems.
Well, can I ask you one follow-up question on
Sure.
this, Derek? And it's kind of a fun one and it's very Yankee related. When I saw the Dodgers sign Kyle Tucker, there were even Mets and Yankee fans like, this is so unfair. Let's join the party. Dodgers ruining baseball. Let's focus on the Yanks, who have had a ton of success in their franchise history. Why can't they be the Dodgers over the past 10 years? What is missing?
Notice I didn't
they
say
can
that.
Spend as much. What is missing here?
My take that day was, I'm not mad at the Dodgers. The Dodgers are doing what I wish the Yankees would do. I wish they would be aggressive and spend the money they can make. What the Yankees see, here's the way I view it. The Yankees aren't run by a hedge fund. The Steinbrenners, their business is baseball. They can only spend the money they make on baseball, and I think they're invested in a few other things. Like they're invested in some soccer team, and I'm sure they have their hands in a lot of different other businesses. But it's not like a hedge fund or Steve Cohen where your money makes money just sitting there. At insane amounts of money, and the Dodgers are basically saying, hey, we'll defer all this money and we don't even care how it looks, stop us. What are you going to do about it? The Yankees used to have that attitude. That's the difference between Hal and George. Hal doesn't have that what are you going to do about it attitude. Hal has that I'm going to play by the rules. He's a rule follower. He was disciplined by his father George and taught to respect the rules, whereas I think George was just like, hey, I'm gonna do what I want, right? I'm gonna hire somebody to look at Dave Winfield and hire a gambler. And who cares if I get suspended? I'll figure out a way back. You know what I mean? I don't think Hal is like that. I think the difference, and Hal is probably like a very nice guy. He just doesn't have that competitive, fuck you, I'm gonna win at all costs mentality that that George did. And I think that Steve Cohen does. Now, he hasn't figured it out yet, but when he does, watch out. And I think that's why bringing in David Stearns was a great move. I think a lot of the smartest people are the ones that know the right people. They know that they don't know everything, and they put the smart people in place. And I think that Cohen is doing that, and I think the Dodgers are doing that.
The Dodgers also keep racking top 5 farm systems. You can't buy
insane
minor league talent anymore, right? The Yankees actually used to be really good at this. Like, hey, wait until pick 26 and then we'll outpay everyone. There's a cap within the draft now. There's a cap within the international draft. We have many caps to be able to hold teams back and to be able to reward teams that don't have as much to get top end players like the Pirates getting a Paul Skeens, of course, in the draft. The Dodgers are beating the Yankees in that department very consistently. I think we underrate that part, right? There are a lot of players that the Dodgers are bringing up on a year-to-year basis that are part of their core that are making $700,000 for the first few years, and they turn into star players or star pitchers. The Yankees do a nice job, but the Dodgers are beating them. I don't think anybody looks at Andrew Friedman and Brian Cashman in that matchup and goes Cash's way. Andrew Friedman's one of the best executives of all time. And you can say, oh, he's got it all with the Dodgers. He didn't win with the Rays, but he created a foundation with the Rays that made them a pretty competitive team for a while. Like even now, they're still kind of, I don't want to say feeding off what he did, but he started that foundation. Then he goes to the Dodgers. He's like, wait, I can do this and have a purse. Okay, well, I'm going to have a top end farm system. I'm going to have the best resources. I'm going to have the best team. I'm going to go get the best players. And then they're going to want to come play for us. So Kyle Tucker, I'm not even pursuing him like I am other teams. He's going to come to me at the end and I'm just waiting. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's the best you got. Cool. Yeah, we can go around that range. We'll take him. So I just think, to use he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. It's not that. I know he's got more resources, but when we're talking about the top end teams that can spend almost as much, as the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, right? Some of these teams, Phillies, Braves, even the Astros. I know they're still far away, but they're up there. Andrew Friedman's winning right now.
Yeah, he's killing it. All right, so we're going to go to a quick word from actually you about Mint Mobile. And then we'll be back. We're going to talk a little bit about Cal Raleigh, Juan Soto, and whether the Tigers will trade Tarik Skubal to finish things off. Back in 60 seconds.
Hey, sometimes we do a little game on Foul Territory called Role Play. It's not what you think. We're just picking up our phones and we're talking as if we're somebody in baseball. But if you'd like that phone to be a little bit cheaper for making phone calls, who should you call, Kratz?
Mint Mobile, because you get all the same speed with a tiny little price.
Same coverage, tiny price. Ready to stop paying more than you have to? New customers can make the switch today, and for a limited time, get unlimited premium wireless for just $15 per month. Switch now at mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Over 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Save money. Get after it, FT fam.
I really do need to get Mint Mobile because I've been on AT&T for a while and I'm paying like $230 a month and everybody's like, how are you paying so much? And I'm like, I don't know. I've been doing the same thing for like 20 years. I've had the same plan and I've never changed it. And as soon as it runs out, I'm going to investigate Mint Mobile.
Yeah, you got to audit your bill. Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. All right. Cal Raleigh. I did not envision 60 home runs from him last year. I didn't know a catcher could do that. Obviously, it was the first time it ever happened. Do you think he can break Judge's record?
No, I don't think he can do it again. I think that's a one-time thing. I just think the position is too demanding. So will he hit 40 plus, 50 plus, maybe 60 plus? I don't see it. I just sit next to a catcher every day. Sometimes I sit next to the other one, the backup, Kratz and Przinsky, and I just have a hard time seeing that get put together. Will he put together another solid season? No doubt about that. And I also think there's a chance that the Mariners, I don't want to say run away with the NL or AL West, but I do think they could create some cushion where, they're not going to sit Cal much, but I think they're just going to be a little bit more careful. And they're going to play the game that we talked about with the Dodgers. Hey, if we've got something really special here and our pitching is intact, let's make sure we're ready for October. So for me, yeah, I think it's hard to see Cal at 63. I think 60 is going to be the career high. He shocked the world, but I don't know if I don't want to say ever, but I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see a catcher hit that many home runs.
Yeah.
It's so freaking rare.
I think
What about you?
It's interesting that home runs seem to have been unlocked last year. We had 3 guys hit 4 home runs in a game. We had 4 guys hit 50 plus. I watched some video recently about how power doesn't matter. It's all about launch angle and spin now. And I don't know, maybe he did unlock something and maybe he's just got that perfect swing. But I think that pitchers will there's going to be a lot of time invested into how do we shut down Cal Raleigh there is for every big time player. I don't think he's going to get 60, but I can see him hitting 45 to 55 routinely. And I know he's a great catcher, but if the Mariners were smart, they would accelerate his path to DH so that he can just hit more and not have the wear and tear. Because then I think he would hit 60 possibly.
They just traded a great pitching or catcher prospect too, and Harry Ford over to the Nats. I guess they didn't like him, but I was like, I think he could have made that work. I mean, Cal maybe just is a guy that doesn't want to get off the catcher position, but I'm with you. I think protect your real estate because he's probably a Mariner for life at this point.
There's a lot of people that talk about Jazz Chisholm possibly going 40-40, but there's another guy in New York that almost went 40-40 last year. This absolutely shocked me, and that is Juan Soto, who had a career high in home runs. He also had 38 stolen bases to go along with those 43 home runs. Do you think he's going to get 40-40? Do you think, knowing that he was able to get, he's a guy who unlocked stealing bases somehow. I don't know where this came from. Do you think he's going to do it?
I don't, because I think he lost his secret weapon, Antoine Richardson. And you can be like, oh, well, he learned the tools that he needed. Nah, I think when you have the right trainer and you keep them, I'm just using an analogy when you're at the gym, that's how you keep the correct gains. You can say, oh, I've got it all down. I have my own game plan now. But I still think, will he steal 30? Maybe. But to get to 40 plus, yeah, I don't see it. and maybe the Mets are a little bit more careful. It's almost a whole new coaching staff too. I mean, Mendoza's there, but I don't think he's really, sitting there thinking about the run game for Soto every day. So I think some of the support staff coaching just won't be as aggressive. Like that guy was special, and I don't know exactly what happened there, but he ended up leaving. I think there was maybe a little pay dispute, and some of that doesn't have to do with the Mets. The league kind of tells people how much they should be paying some of these assistant coaches. So I'm going to take the under on that one, Derek. I'll take under 40 for Soto. I still think he could put together another 40-plus homer season. Obviously, he's in his prime. He's going to rake for a long time. But the other thing is, the more you run, the more you risk injury. I hate to say it, but it is true. You see a lot of guys calm down in that department. I don't think he's going to do that necessarily. But here, I'll tell you this. He does get to 40-40 if he is just drilling that stolen base number early on, right? Because then he'll, he knows his stats. So if he gets close like that again, he's going to swipe a few bags. He'll figure out a way. But for me, no, I'll take the under. I'll take maybe another 40-plus homers, 42 homers, and let's say he'll be at like 28 stolen bases. He'll get a couple in the last week and get to 30.
I'm going to take the over because I think he's going to go for it. Like you said, he knows his stats. I think he's been thinking about it all winter. Man, 2 more stolen bases. I feel like that was gnawing on his mind. All right, the last topic for the night. Tarik Skubal. Will the Tigers deal him? I mean, I think they're obviously going to be in it. You know how good they are. But still, it makes a lot of sense to deal him, even if you're in it, because he's probably not going to reason. He's going to go get $400 million from the Dodgers, 400, 500, 600, 800 million from Cohen. I don't know what he's going to get, but he's going to get more money than the Tigers are going to pay him.
He's going to sign before the lockout, too. You'll see there'll be a little spending spree from teams. This is actually the easiest question you asked me all night, by far. I don't think there's any way they trade him. There's one way. The Tigers are terrible. It's hard to see that. So I don't think they're going to trade him. Can you imagine the PR disaster of trading this guy when you have a chance to win a World Series? If the Tigers are going to be good, like we think they are, how can they get to July and then say, yeah, we're shopping him now? The whole game was, I think that they spoke to teams. They talked about how much they could get. They also said internally, hey, this could be the best shot that we have for a while. Let's stack it up and go in. And that's what they're doing. I mean, they have a really nice 1-2 punch with Framber Valdez. They can fill out the rest of the rotation nicely. They truly believe that they've got a young core where everybody's going to take a step forward. I mean, I know everyone says that, but they do have, it's not like guys that are first year in the league. A lot of guys still click when they're like 26, 27. They've got a lot of that in their lineup. So I think they could also supplement that at the trade deadline. Easier to pick up a bat than an arm. So to answer your question, Derek, I would say 5% chance, and that 5% is only if the Tigers are like several games out of a wild card spot and you're just like, what happened to the Tigers? And then they entertain those discussions because they don't think they have a good chance of winning the World Series. I think they do their one more year. They're pushing chips in. Let's have fun. Let's see if we can actually crack through and get to a one more round deeper, a CS or a World Series with Tarik Skubal, and then he gone.
Well, Scotty, thanks so much for taking the time tonight. I know it's past your bedtime here. Now you got a rave to go to, right? Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm kidding because I know you're you're a night owl. You're the opposite of me. I'm in bed by 10 o'clock, and you're the one that's up at the raves at midnight and beyond. I'm
about to have dinner, bud.
I had spaghetti and a nap about 4 hours ago. All right, Scotty. Everybody subscribe to Foul Territory and obviously to Pinstripe Territory as well. We're here after every game. We're going to cover some of the World Baseball Classic. We're obviously going to cover some of the Yankees spring training. And obviously, Foul Territory on every day for multiple hours and all sorts of great baseball content. So tune in for that. Scotty, any final thoughts on people who may be thinking about sitting this baseball season out on what they should watch for?
No, they should enjoy this season just in case things get a little bit crazy. But I would say, final thoughts, because I like to always cater to your audience. Todd Frazier, who is on our show quite frequently, called out the Orioles last year and was like, they're not even going to make the playoffs. And he nailed it. I don't think many people had them going that low. And now he's going the other way with them. So I don't think I'm breaking any news here, but I think fans should pay attention to the Orioles too, Yankee fans. I think they're going to be much better this year. They did a ton in the offseason. If you were snoozing and now you wake up, you're going to be like, oh, damn, what is this team? So
I saw that Jackson Holiday's out.
Stacked.
Holiday's
out. He's going to miss a few weeks. Yeah, but I do think there's enough there. I mean, I think the offense is significantly better with Pete Alonso and Taylor Ward. Those are two guys that are going to hit you a combined 70 home runs. The pitching is much better. I love Bassett. I think Shane Baz is going to be really good there. So it's just going to be a better team. I think, that makes it a little tougher for Yankee fans where you're looking, you're like, where's my break here? You know where your break is? The break's probably the Rays in the division. That's the worst team in the division.
And the Rays always give us trouble. Always.
They do. That's the thing. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, just like there always is, there's going to be that lull for the Yanks where fans are going to freak out, and we're here for it when it happens. So we'll look forward to having you on for the therapy session in June.
We call it the June Boone Swoon here on Pinstripe Territory. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.